Church, between Justin talking about pH balances, Krysten trying to romanticize the past again, and Stacia asking for separations and divorces, I don't even know where to start. I got my notes, I hope y'all got yours. Let's get on into this damn mess. All right, y'all, so let's jump right on into our hot topics and let's talk about Krysten and Alexis's friendship. Now, listen, I understand that all the ladies, in terms of the wives this season, have a bond together, they have a group chat, and they all get along. But I really feel that Krysten and Alexis's friendship is on another level, okay? Out of all of them two seem the closest, and I really like their kind of Thelma and Louise dynamic, right? And I think that their personalities kind of really gel with each other and really complement each other, right? For Krysten, Alexis brings out her more fun side, her more bossy side, her more confident side. And for Alexis, Krysten helps bring out her more sensitive, caring, nice side. Okay, so I think that their personalities really play off of each other well. And I love that they support each other through this process and also afterwards, right? So they decide to go on a double date to get themselves back in the dating pool. And out of the two couples, in terms of what was put together, I don't really see it for either of them, but I think that if you view it in terms of this being a worthwhile date type situation, you'll probably fail every time, right? This was just a first foray, a baby toe back in the dating pool. Now, on the Krysten side, she had talked about how her date wasn't really opening up and wasn't really that vulnerable. If you just think about the psychology of it, okay, you got three people at the table that's used to being in front of the camera and one person that's not, okay? Krysten and Alexis been in front of the camera for about 3, 4, 5 months at this point, okay? So they're comfortable. The dude that Alexis was dating or whatever, the dude that Alexis was dating was like a model. So he's used to being in front of the camera. He's used to performing for people XYZ, okay? So you got three people that's used to, the entertainment social media thing and one person that's not. You can't really blame him for not being all out there with his personality if that's not something that he does on a daily basis, okay? Now, in terms of the love connection, Krysten was saying that she didn't really see it, but she thought he was attractive and whatnot. Listen, it's probably best that it didn't work out. Krysten life is about to be on the East Coast. The last thing that she needs is a long-term, long-distance relationship that's still on the West Coast. Okay, so let it go and move forward. In terms of the Alexis relationship with the model man, um, I don't know. Y'all drop down in the comments because he really gave me F boy vibes. He just seemed a bit too curated and a bit too perfect, XYZ, but maybe I'm just projecting in terms of people that I've seen with that demeanor in the past. Okay, so that might be his authentic self. I don't know. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know. But I don't know if this one is a super keeper, Alexis. But as a first foray back into the dating pool, I don't think you could have done worse, right? So let's move on to Justin and his apology tour. Now, Justin owed three apologies this episode. Okay, he owed one to Nate, he owed one to the group, and he owed one to Alexis. So listen, quiet as it's kept, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Okay, so listen, in terms of the Nate apology, Justin needed to apologize to Nate because he embarrassed the hell out of that man in a public forum. Okay, I have a rule. Where you act out is the same manner in which you need to apologize. Okay, so if you go on TV, on national TV, and embarrass the hell out of this man, then you need to subsequently get back on national TV and apologize to him in the same format, right? So listen, the apology was deserved, and he gave it to him, and I thought it was genuine. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know if you thought it was genuine too. Now, I think that it was good on the Nate side to accept it because, listen, this man did embarrass you, but he's apologizing for it and he's trying to move forward in a fruitful way. Now, we have to really talk about what that fruitful way means because people often think that once I apologize, it's kumbaya, we best friends and we going on. No, sometimes you just need to apologize to level set and move on with your life, okay? So this is not kumbaya. We're not going to be best friends, but we don't need to go forward in our lives with any further animosity. We apologize for the roles that we played in terms of, Justin acting a complete fool and pulling something out of thin air, and Nate not being able to let it go in terms of being on that stage and keeping, nagging and knocking at Justin, trying to get a rise out of him, trying to get back to the central argument. Okay, so we were both wrong. Justin was more wrong. Justin was more wrong than Nate. He apologized. We can move on. We don't need to be friends, but we can move on. Now, Justin apologizes to the group. With the group apology, I'm a little bit less inclined to believe that it was totally genuine, right? I want to say it was 50% genuine, 50% situational, performative, right? And the reason why I say that is this. Have y'all ever been in a situation where you've fallen out with a larger group, but you're still expected, or you still have to interact with them in some capacity? It can be very awkward, okay? And if all the other couples or all the other people there are having, joy, merriment, and fun, and you over there standing in the corner with a screw face, just trying to be included, but trying to be on the outs of it, it can be very awkward, okay? So I think his apology was 50% genuine and 50% because he just didn't want to be the damn scarecrow in the corner for the entire damn duration of this event, okay? Listen, scarecrow, is that you standing in the corner with no brain, with a screw face, and just mad, okay? So listen, like I said, I think it was 50% genuine and 50% situationally performative. But listen, in the larger and the grander scheme of things, it's very unlikely that all of you will be in the same place, in the same city, in the same forum for a very long time, if ever, okay? So the apology needed to happen regardless, whether it's completely genuine or performative based on the situation or some combination of the two. It needed to happen, and I'm glad he gave it, and I'm glad that people received it for the most part, right? Now, like I said, Justin apologized to the group, but he skipped Alexis. So let's go into our general couple updates and talk about that. But first off, let's talk about the situation that led up to him not apologizing to Alexis. So now, we're kind of getting into this whole larger conversation of did they or did they not consummate the relationship, and the kind of breadcrumbs that keep getting pulled out one by one about this situation, right? So apparently it all goes back to an after party episode where Alexis says the sex did not manifest between the two of them, okay? Now let's break it down. When Alexis said that the sex did not manifest on after party, first off, y'all, I gotta start watching these damn after parties, okay? I keep meaning to, but then I don't. So apparently I miss things sometimes, but listen, apparently it's going down on the after party. But when she said that the sex did not manifest itself, personally and truthfully, I thought that was a very tactful way to put it, okay? You've already made the mistake of bringing this man's sexual prowess. Well, hell, he brought his sexual prowess to the conversation, but you've leaned into it in terms of embarrassing him throughout the process, talking about certain things, okay? And like I said in the last review, it's very hard to put the genie back in the bottle, okay? So you got to talk about it in some capacity, and I thought saying that it did not manifest itself was ambiguous enough for people to move on, okay? The problem is, when you say it did not manifest, the natural connotation that people have in their head is that it's the man's fault, right? Because in a male-female relationship, if the man is not aroused properly, the sex will not happen, okay? So it's not out of the stretch of the imagination to make the logical next step that Justin is the cause for the manifestation of their situation not happening, okay? So she was trying to do good, but in a way she kind of did, something not wrong, but it left a lot to people's imagination. Well, hell, their whole sexual relationship has left a lot to people's imagination. So I don't know if you could put the whole thing on Alexis, but I truly thought that she wasn't trying to put him out there in a bad way on the after party thing. Now on the Justin side, listen, I'm trying to pick my words carefully. Justin, Alexis may have alluded to the whole manifestation of your situation thing, but honestly, you told on yourself, okay? Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. you told on yourself. How do we go from it not manifesting to you getting on the damn same national platform, baby, and talking about how you told the world I didn't have an erection? Now listen, that may have been the damn logical conclusion that people had reached, but you told your situation. So how you mad at her? Okay, that's the bait and switch and the mental game situation that I can't deal with. Okay, you come out and tell the world specifically that you did not have a damn sustainable erection, or erection rather, or whatever the case may be, and now you mad at her trying to put words in her mouth. Did she infer it? Some could say yes, some could say no, but in the grand scheme of things, you're the one who brought all the information to the damn beach. Okay, now let's move on to what Justin says is the reason behind it. So Justin says he didn't have an erection due to Alexis's pH balance. Now, y'all, I'm going to try to be as mature as I can in this situation, but in the eternal words of Cat Williams, I laughed from a good, healthy place, okay? Because it was giving me deja vu of the reunion all over again when Justin was losing in that damn fight with Nate and he pulled something out his ass in terms of you made a pass at me, okay? It was giving me real, I need to pull something out my ass vibes, right? But I said, you know what? Listen, I make no apologies about it. I make no qualms about it, baby. Listen, I don't know the intricate details of male and female relationships as it relates to sex. So I said, baby, let me go educate myself in terms of what it means when a man says a woman's pH balance is off. So baby, I tootsie rolled down to the medical offices of Google MD, and Dr. Google said that when women have pH balance issues, it can result in a foul or fishy smell, an unusual discharge, itching, burning, yeast infection issues. Now listen, truthfully and completely, I refuse to believe and I refuse to go along with the narrative that Alexis brought herself to that forum without making any sort of necessary preparations, necessary overview, and necessary checking that everybody basically does before sex. Okay, you cannot tell me that if Alexis had all of that going on, right, in terms of some or maybe a combination of what I just read off, that she would try to get into a situation with Justin that would lead to sex. Okay, so personally, I don't even know if I can believe Justin 100%. Okay, and what lends more credence to that narrative is that if the pH balance was as off as you say it was, and you're on the reunion talking about how you consummated the situation, clearly it wasn't bad enough for you to initially get in it, okay? Now, whether or not it's her fault or your fault in terms of whether you could maintain it, that remains to be seen. But listen, in order to just close the door on this situation, I'm willing to kind of assign blame to both of y'all, right? Because this is an and both scenario. I think both of y'all had roles to play in this, and maybe, both of y'all situations weren't what it needed to be. For Justin's side, maybe there was some sort of ED type issue. For the Alexis side, maybe she wasn't, as fresh and dove scented and daisy fresh as she thought she was. Baby, I don't know, okay? Maybe we will never fully know, but all I know is trying to blame the whole situation on Alexis doesn't really sit well with me and doesn't really give us the full story, but I'm willing to dead it if y'all are. Now, Alexis then apologizes to Justin when they're at the, house for Krysten's thing, and he doesn't apologize back. Now, the man kind of said, he said he could talk to her at the time. He said he could listen, but he said he was drunk. And I'm not giving him an excuse in terms of the being drunk and not being able to give back an apology. When someone apologizes to you, the natural thing is for you to look at your role, unless they did something so egregious to you that, you knew that you were issued, that you were due an apology and you didn't need to give one. Unless it's one of those situations, in a normal fashion, most people who are apologized to will see their role in a situation and then deliver an apology right back, right? And the fact that Justin decided that he didn't owe her an apology for anything at that point, that whole situation was a fool to me, okay? So, and it kind of set in motion the whole narrative of, are Justin's apologies genuine, okay? Which, would people still have those feelings if he had apologized to Alexis? Perhaps. But I think that it would be a easier sell if he had apologized to everyone and not necessarily just excluded her, right? So he did owe her an apology. Did he owe her an apology for everything? No, but even if it's just saying, I apologize for the role that I played in the breakdown of our relationship. I think that would have been better than just standing there accepting the apology and then Tootsie rolling off back to the party. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know if you agree. Now let's move on to Stacia and Nate and talk about Stacia asking Nate for a separation and divorce. Now, although it was shocking, I think it was one of those situations kind of where you make an emotional decision, right? You kind of get fed up, almost like how Alexis got fed up down to that damn, after decision day thing, and she decided to end the relationship. Like you naturally get to a point where you're like, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is my, relationship, is me trying to work this out in vain, right? And I think she just got fed up. And listen, I'm gonna level set and say this. It is not wrong for Stacia to want to have a relationship where someone is giving her what she wants when she wants it. Okay, it's not wrong for her to want that, right? Someone who's all in, who's completely open, and who's ready to proceed forward in the manner that she is. It's not wrong for her to want that. And in the same vein, it's not wrong for Nate to kind of want to baby step in terms of opening up his whole life and being vulnerable with someone. Okay, it's okay for him to want to go at his own pace in terms of what he shares, when he shares it, and how he shares it. Okay, so if we level set at that, we can move forward. Now listen, all of this whole separation, divorce, will they, won't they, it's really an offshoot of that same control versus vulnerability thing. Nate wasn't delivering Stacia what she needed in the timetable that she wanted it. Okay, so she decided to take control of the situation and say, you know what, if you're not going to give me what I want, I'm just going to bow out of the situation and we can move on, right? And on the Nate side, if you're not creating the environment and facilitating the environment for me to feel vulnerable enough to give you what you want, then I'm just going to keep retracting, every single time. But the thing about it is, each side has to give a little, okay? Stacia has to give up a little bit of this control thing in terms of everything being on her timetable, and Nate has to give a little bit in terms of this vulnerability thing. I truly believe that what would help the situation so much is if Nate just moved into Stacia's house, okay? Because y'all go with me for a second. I think the whole Nate being, 1 foot in his old life, 1 foot in his new life is what's kind of making Stacia's anxiety and issues act up, right? Because are you in or are you not? Are we in two separate households or are we trying to build something in one together? Like, there's so much ambiguity in terms of where you guys are living, what you guys are doing, how you guys are progressing, that I think if you can just take one item off the plate in terms of something that you can do technically very easily, because each lease has a damn break the lease fee. If you could just break the lease, right? Break your lease and move in with her, then I think you could just get to the point where you say that you've given it a college try, okay? Like, I think this whole going back and forth between two households, I think it's just creating unnecessary conflict where it doesn't need to be, okay? And yes, it may be giving up your level of independence, but unless you get into that house and really try to deal with her on a day-to-day basis and try to make it work, I don't know if you'll be able to say that you did everything that you could to make the situation be a worthwhile and fruitful one, right? So, Nate, you're gonna have to stop keeping, each foot in a different life, and you're just gonna have to jump into the Stacia situation. If it doesn't work out, that's okay, okay? But if it does work out, great. At least you can say you did everything you needed to try to make it work, okay? And I don't know if he can say that he's doing all of that right now, and I think his inability to kind of pick a lane is causing her control issues to kind of manifest in a more obvious way. But hell, by the end of the episode, they was kissing on each other and they made up. So I think intention and dedication is a very good factor, and the fact that y'all keep wanting to work on it is a very good evidence that y'all will hopefully go the distance. Because if you didn't care about it, she would have filed, right, for separation or divorce in the damn court system instead of just asking him for separation divorce. It seemed like she was trying to get a rise out of him and kind of get him to realize that he kind of needed to pay more attention to the situation. Now let's move on to Lindy and Miguel and talk about to buy a house or not. Now, in terms of the Lindy and Miguel situation, it seems like they're still going well. Look, they're taking new, wedding type photos now that they're more familiar with each other. Everything seems to be, biscuits and gravy. On the house front, I am Team Miguel, okay? And it's not because I don't see it for Lindy and Miguel. It's not because I don't want them to be, happy long term. When it comes to finances, I'm always going to view it from the most logical standpoint, okay? I don't believe in buying property with people that I haven't known for at least a year, okay? And quiet as it's kept, I'm more apt for the year and a half, 2 years format, okay? But I'm being a little bit nice. Now, one could say that because they leapt headfirst into the married at first sight experiment, that they should also leap first into buying property. Listen, two wrongs don't make a right, and three rights make a left. So what's your point? Okay. I think that, at most, what I would kind of submit to is, I'm not saying that they shouldn't move in together. Apparently, they're living in his apartment. It's not big enough. Why don't y'all just get a bigger apartment, right? Get a bigger apartment, get both of y'all on the lease, and try to like live together in a space that, I guess is both of yours for a year and a half, 2 years. And if everything is still going well at that time, then make that leap to the house thing. Because to me, it's much easier to dissolve a lease than it is to dissolve a damn house where both of y'all are on the title. One person may not want to leave. You might have to buy the other person out. It could all turn into being a foolish type situation. So I say, leave Miguel's apartment. Y'all go rent a damn apartment, put a year and a half lease in, and then based on that, then y'all can move forward with the house. I think buying a house now would be ridiculous for the two of y'all. If I haven't known somebody for a year, I'm not buying property with them. Let's move on to Krysten and Mitch. And Krysten is, again, wondering if she should have given Mitch time outside of the experiment. Krysten, the problem with you, mama, is you remind me of an old country song. And the country song goes like this: one step forward and two steps back. Nobody gets too far like that, okay? Every time you make one step forward, you take two back. It's all a fool, okay? Krysten starts wondering whether or not she should have given Mitch additional time after Mitch gives her a nice birthday / going to New York present, okay? I'm not even going to hash this out in a long way, okay? I said it last time. Do not let the 20% that was good with your relationship overrule the 80% that was bad, okay? It's natural to think about old relationships in a shoulda, coulda, woulda format, but it's not fruitful, okay? You cannot drive your car while always looking in the rearview mirror, okay? Focus on what's going good in your life. It seems like a lot is going good. You got a promotion at your job, you're moving cross country, you start a new adventure in a new city. Focus on that in terms of, the possibilities that brings to you, instead of always focusing on what you may have left on the table behind you, okay? It wasn't a fruitful situation, but until you believe that in your core, you're going to keep having those damn conversations with yourself. I could talk to you till I'm blue in the face. Hell, Alexis could talk to you till she's blue in the face. Everybody could talk to you until you're blue in the face. Until you truly get that this situation was not fruitful for you in the long term, and focus on all that you have in front of you, you're going to keep looking back. And it's a fool's errand to keep looking back in terms of something that's not worthwhile for you. In terms of the Mitch side, I don't really blame him. Mitch has been kind of very, resolute in his opinions for the most part, even though he sometimes takes a step back as well. But it's never been from the Mitch side that he's trying to get back with her or trying to work it out and whatever. He's just trying to be a nice guy at this point, okay? He realizes that he messed up, he fumbled that ball, and he said, she's going to have a lot of opportunities in New York with people that are going to be right for her, okay? So I think for Mitch, it's really just making amends, and it's not trying to confuse her and make her think that, there's any future for the two of them. Let's move on to Morgan and Binh and talk about them working out as friends. Y'all, I like y'all better as friends than I did when y'all was married. Okay. Like, the whole thing is a fool, right? Y'all interact so much better as friends than you ever did when you were married. I think the pressure is off. I think after Binh gave her that apology that she needed, she got what she needed, and they can move forward in a fruitful way. I really like the friendship that's developing between you two, and I think you could teach each other a lot. Now, Morgan says that, she's lightly dating but not really doing anything serious. And Binh is working on himself, going to therapy, trying to heal his relationship with his father and, all the issues that created in his situation. quiet as it's kept, Morgan could learn a thing or two about Binh's situation. Okay, I'm not saying that she shouldn't date and she shouldn't get back out there. I'm just saying, like I said last time, mama needs to heal herself and that internal relationship with her father, or else every single subsequent relationship is going to end the same way. So maybe the larger picture of the Morgan and Binh friendship is more so that, through Binh talking about his experiences, through him talking about him working on himself, through him talking about him going to therapy, maybe that will facilitate an environment where Morgan will think she needs to do the same, right? Eventually, if you just think about it, if you're friends with somebody, you're going to start having shared interests, shared commonalities, and you might want to approach things in the way that they do if you see it having a beneficial impact on their life. So that's what I wish for Morgan. But even if they just stay friends and just keep working out and keep working on that relationship, I think it could work in terms of a friendship thing. Do not try to make it more than that, okay? Because that's a fool's errand. Leave it as friends, learn from each other, move forward. And y'all, I really think that's all I want to talk about on this episode. So if you liked what I said, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all social media at DatDamnDasher. And until next time, y'all, until next season, y'all need to find a third permanent expert for the panel. Because as far as I'm concerned, it cannot be the Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper variety show for much longer. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.